So for those that don't know me, I'm Cathy Smith. I'm the KPO, Kaizen Promotion Office lead, and your host for this afternoon's report out. So we now have 8 value streams. The very latest value stream to be launched very soon is theatres. And I can tell they can hear us over at Shrewsbury, just so welcome everybody at Shrewsbury, and it's lovely to hear your chuckles to greet Kevin as he joined us. One of the elements... one of the elements of the methodology is the measurement both before, during and after the improvements take place. And so with 8 value streams, all of which will require at least 6 RPIWs, Rapid Process Improvement Weeks, that you're going to hear about now, with a small team in the KPO team, how do we manage to get all that measurement? And we do it through all of you. And so you'll hear process owner mentioned, and I just wanted to share a little bit more about how fabulous our process owners are. And we've got Angie who will be talking to you later. So our process owners are the people who understand the work that needs to be improved, have got a desire to improve it, and they're there every day and have that ownership, hence process owner of that work. So we ask them, I know you won't be able to read the detail, but we ask them to sign and commit to the process of being a process owner for 4 one-hour meetings before we get to this week, to help with the capture of data, telling us whether we've got the value streams correct, and preparing the people for what is going to be an onslaught of people coming into their areas during a week and saying, will you test, will you try, and then will you leave it in place and really help us embed it over the next 30, 60, 90 days. And our process owners have that responsibility of getting those measurements, bringing them back and sharing them with you as a trust so they can then be rolled out. So they really are absolutely essential to our process. So big round of applause when you see process owners. And I'm going to hand over at this point to the team who are going to take you through fantastic work this week.
Okay, guys. Don't bail out on me now. After all this week. We've rehearsed this. Come on. Right. Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm Richard Stevens, Kaizen Promotion Office Specialist, and I've been the workshop lead for this RPIW. This week we've been focusing on the handover process for our patients who arrive at ED by ambulance until completion of the handover and initial assessment by a nurse. We've been fortunate to have gathered a very capable and enthusiastic team who've worked extremely hard, as you will hear, to improve the process this week, including 3 ED sisters, 1 ED staff nurse, 1 ED HCA, a charge hand porter, paramedic from the West Midlands Ambulance Service, and a representative from NHS Improvement working within the Emergency Care Improvement Programme. On the first day, we also had one of the new Halos from RSH join us. I'll now like to hand you over to the team and tell their story.
Good afternoon, my name's Mary-Claire Wigley and I'm KPO Specialist and I've been the team lead for this RPIW. The target progress report for this RPIW has 7 metrics. The baseline metrics are from direct observation with the target set by Vanessa, our sponsor. The total lead time for the RPIW from when a patient arrives by ambulance into ED to when they have had their initial assessment completed. The baseline for this metric was 43 minutes and the target set by our sponsor was 15 minutes. The walking distance for the ambulance handover nurse for one patient was 251 steps and the target was 50 steps. The first quality metric is the percentage of West Midlands Ambulance Service handovers at Princess Royal that take over 30 minutes, which had a baseline of 14%. The second quality metric is the percentage of patients who have had part of their triage carried out in the corridor. The baseline was that this occurred for 100% of observed patients. The third quality metric was the percentage of staff who gave a neutral or negative response to the experience-based design question, how do you feel about the role of the ambulance handover nurse? 100% gave a neutral or negative response. All 3 quality metrics have a target of 0%. The 5S methodology was applied to the handover form and the baseline was level 1 with a target of level 4. Our last metric was to measure the time it takes the ambulance handover nurse to gather the items needed to carry out the initial assessment for the patient. The baseline was 10 minutes 54 seconds and the target was 2 minutes. The TAC time, or pace of the work, for patients arriving by ambulance into Princess Royal ED was 25 minutes. The boundaries for this value stream are from when I arrive by ambulance into ED to I've had my initial assessment completed. The cycle boxes show what happens at each step in the process and who is involved. It shows how long each step takes and the weights between each step. The Kaizen bursts demonstrate defects and wastes in the process. The current value-added time for the patient is 30%. The process flow chart shows the waste on the pink post-its, and the red wool shows the flow as inappropriately timed and with defects. I'll now ask the team to tell you about the work they've done this week.
Hello, my name is Angie and I'm a sister here in the ED and one of the process owners for this RPIW. The problem we identified was ambulances were queuing and waiting to offload and hand over to the nursing staff. This was taking over 30 minutes with a lot of our patients waiting much longer. Additionally, this was delaying seeing a doctor as well as impacting on their privacy and dignity. The idea we tested was to introduce a pit stop process using 2 cubicles and staffed appropriately with a nurse and ideally a doctor. This will enable rapid assessment and privacy, as well as providing a suitable area to keep equipment close by. Throughout the week, we had great support and feedback from all staff, which helped us continually improve through many PDSA cycles. Although the name pit stop was not widely favoured, the concept has proved to be very popular, with one nurse saying she was very proud of what we have been achieved in this week. To ensure this concept can be maintained, standard work has been introduced with a flow diagram to ensure our staff understand the process, and additionally our staff have been provided with armbands to ensure they are instantly recognised by the ambulance crew. By using this process, we have ensured most of our patients are not assessed in the corridor and have reduced the lead time by 50%.
Good afternoon, my name's Becky. I'm a sister in the emergency department at the Royal Shrewsbury Hospital. To enable pit stop to flow successfully, it requires the right nurse in the right place with the right skills, 1 nurse and 1 HCA. To ensure all the staff allocated to this area have the skills required and competencies, we have created a skills map form which clearly shows every new agency nurse's clinical skills. These forms can be completed at the beginning of the shift and the ED coordinator allocate them according to skill mix. We have focused on a nurse-led approach to pit stop, although it was identified by introducing a doctor to pit stop, it would be of great benefit to the flow within the emergency department. This has been tested throughout the week and we have received great feedback and support from the medical team. To ensure the nurses' roles and responsibilities are clear, we produced a team flow diagram to show the process in pit stop, so all the staff are working to a standardised format. We have also implemented staff wearing armbands, clearly showing their role. This visual aid has proven very successful in preventing these nurses being called away to other areas in majors, ensuring that these roles are protected at all times.
Good afternoon, my name's Paul from NHS Improvements and I've been in the role of Fresh Eyes for this RPIW. So our problem was that ambulance crews were not accessing community-based alternative pathways routinely. There was actually an assumption that said that they did not have access to the Shropshire-wide Care Coordination Centre. So in terms of resolving this problem, our plan was to investigate the facts surrounding this assumption and to liaise with the CCG, the West Midlands Ambulance Service and the local urgent care group to establish actually what was the truth around that assumption. What we wanted to test then was to allow crews to access a care coordination centre for patients whom they responded to on 999, but following a clinical assessment did not require the services in an acute emergency department. So we actually tested them accessing the care coordination centre, and following excellent engagement with the paramedics and the clinical commissioning group colleagues, we developed standard work to enable crews to directly care coordinate non-ED patients into the community-based alternative pathways. Now, we're absolutely clear that this will have a positive impact on the flow within ED, by reducing the number of attendances, but also it will ensure that patients receive their care in the most appropriate setting.
Hi, I'm Amy. I'm one of the sisters over at Royal Shrewsbury Hospital Emergency Department. So we recognised that there was a problem with the staff carrying out the patient's initial assessment. They'd spent over 11 minutes covering over 250 steps gathering these items needed. This was a waste of motion and transportation. We also noted that our agency nursing colleagues were unable to access IT systems because they do not have IT passwords. So we decided to locate all items needed for the assessment in or near the newly developed pit stop area. This included moving the ECG machine, blood equipment and the blood form printer into an easy accessible place. For the IT passwords, we liaised with PASS and temporary staffing to arrange passwords for agency nurses. We tested moving all the equipment and we timed and counted the steps to measure the time to make the change. The move was facilitated by great support from the IT team. The PASS team were able to confirm that agency nurses could have passwords, and temporary staffing will inform PASS when an agency nurse is block booked. A password will then be created for that period of time, and PASS will then email ED reception, and the information will then be printed, ready for the agency nurses to start their shift. A great achievement.
Hello, my name is Peter Doughty. I'm a charge hand porter from SaTH, and I'm the fresh eyes for the RPIW this week. The problem we identified was variations in the time it took for the corridor nurse to find the items required to conduct an assessment from the runaround trolleys. The idea was to use the 5S principle, so sort, simplify, sweep, standardise and self-discipline to organise the trolleys. We ran various PDSA cycles with staff, including myself, to represent a new starter to ensure that all the necessary items were easily identified, necessary and had been appropriately stock levels. We worked with staff to agree which member of staff would be responsible for checking and restocking. Visual controls were used to make it easier to find the items. As a result, the time taken has been reduced. The 5S level score has gone from a 1 to a good 2.
Good afternoon, my name is Karen Rice. I'm a HCA and PRH at A&E. In order for the nurse to collect all the items required to take patients' bloods, they have to leave the patients to go to another area. This means patients who can be vulnerable had to be left alone and took up the time of the nurse to be spending with the patient. The phlebotomy trolley is 15 steps away from the pit stop. This took 31 seconds to collect everything the nurse needs to be able to collect blood from the patient. Our aim was to reduce the number of steps for the nurse to be able to spend more time with the patient. We utilised a colour-coded stacker on wheels and every drawer labelled directly opposite the pit stop cubicles, stocked with the items needed for the nurse to take bloods for the patient. This saved time and the nurse can spend more time with the patient. We timed how long it takes a nurse to collect the blood trolley from the cubicle. We got the timing down to 2 seconds and 4 steps. This means that it gives the nurse more time to spend with the patient and less walking for the staff.
Hello, I'm Claire. I'm one of the staff nurses at Princess Royal A&E. Working closely with West Midlands colleagues, we were tasked with addressing the problem that ambulance handovers were frequently breaching the allocated time. Specifically, we noticed the nurse handover form was overcomplicated, time wasting with irrelevant and missing information. We decided to address this problem with the creation of a new handover form. We aim to make it simple, user-friendly and use an internationally recognised tool, the SBAR, to increase safety and ensure smooth, quick handovers. We primarily used our user feedback to create and add to our new handover. For example, including an area for home circumstances and safeguarding to help facilitate discharge further down the ED process. We also added an area for ambulance obs so trends could be spotted in deteriorating patients, and some pre-hospital information was available for pit stop. A tick box section for a pit stop plan ensures patients receive all appropriate tests here. All feedback we received has been positive, creating a quicker handover form with the safety of patients at its core.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Chris. I'm one of the paramedics that works in West Midlands Ambulance Service in the Shropshire region. I have been working closely with Claire and Paul this week in adapting the SBAR handover and the CCC community access for paramedics. The new format SBAR is nationally recognised and is taught to nurses and paramedics. So our question was, why aren't we using it? We have adapted the SBAR format to include key information and memory cues needed at the point of handover by both disciplines. This has proved to reduce handover process time from 6 to 8 minutes to 2 to 4 minutes. This format can also be further adapted by YMAS to incorporate ATMIST and both methane handovers to similar effect. Thank you.
I am really proud of the achievements of the team this week. Thank you. The future state process flowchart shows the process has been simplified. Waste has been removed for each of the process steps and information flow is now defect-free and timely. The ED Home team have been fantastic this week. Their patience and willingness to try the ideas we have tested has been so beneficial. My co-process owner, Sister Mel Cowley, and I will continue to support the team to embed the changes we have made. The outstanding actions are documented on the newspaper and we will work through these over the next 30 days. We will remeasure the metrics over the next 30, 60 and 90 days and look forward to sharing the results with you.
As you can tell from listening to their report out, the away team have worked so hard this week. At times it's been difficult to get them to take a break or to go home at the end of the day. The dedication that they showed in this RPIW is a reflection of the dedication that they and their colleagues showed to their patients every day, and it's been a privilege to work alongside them this week. The value stream map shows that most of the Kaizen bursts have been addressed and the lead time significantly reduced. The lead time is now 20 minutes, a fantastic 53% improvement. The walking distance for the ambulance handover nurse is now just 27 steps. The first quality metric of the percentage of West Midlands Ambulance Service handovers at PRH that take over 30 minutes was 33% this week. The second quality metric shows that no observed patients had part of their triage initial assessment carried out on the corridor. The third quality metric of the percentage of staff who gave a neutral or negative response to the experience-based design question, how do you feel about the role of the ambulance handover nurse, now has a defect rate of only 25%, a significant improvement in how staff feel about this role. The 5S levels for the handover form and the runaround trolley were a good level 2, and the time spent by the nurse preparing items for assessment has reduced from nearly 11 minutes to just 30 seconds. All these improvements will directly affect the experience of our patients in ED.
So this week has made great progress in improving this process for our patients who are brought into ED by ambulance. The importance of getting those who do the work come up with the ideas and work with their colleagues to test these improvements cannot be underestimated. This has been the first time we've had support from our paramedic colleagues, which has been invaluable this week in enabling us to rapidly make improvements, which they've been keen to address themselves for some time. By rigorously pursuing the removal of waste, thinking more creatively to challenge the status quo, the team this week have created a very workable and effective system, which not only will make a great difference to our patients and staff, but potentially will yield great financial savings by ensuring ambulance time on site meets the agreed timings. I'm proud of the team for working hard to think beyond the immediate scope and engage with the work with our doctors, which will have great benefits with the overall flow in ED. What has particularly stood out this week is the embodiment of our values and desire to make changes. This team who clearly enjoy what they do. Change is difficult, but if you love what you do, success will come. I'd like to thank in particular Mary Claire for her hard work and support in the team lead role this week. Kathy, she took over for Monday and Tuesday for me whilst I had to attend a coaching course. And so thank you for that. For Yvonne, as always, for your support throughout the week. The team couldn't manage what they've achieved without your help, so thanks for that. Also, in particular, I'd like to thank who came along as sort of an advisory capacity, Claire Old that we've got. She's a new System Urgent Care Director and that's been very helpful throughout the week for some of the support you've given us. So thanks for that. And also it's great to see, I'm presuming it's Jenny Sears Bond that's just arrived, who's provided us support with the Halo, and also Rob Till, who can't be here from West Midlands Ambulance Services, enabled us to get Chris. Which, as I say, has been absolutely invaluable. And finally, as well, to all those that named on the slide, individually or as a group, that have helped us this week, because again, without their help and support, we wouldn't get this work achieved. Great, thank you.
everybody. I'm Vanessa Roberts, and I had the delight of being the sponsor for this RPIW. And choosing the subject initially that involved the process of ambulances arriving in our busy EDs that are brought in by ambulance services that are under pressure, and looking at how ambulance handover between paramedics and nurses is actually a huge challenge in itself. And I'm sure you've all possibly seen, read about, or even experienced in some ways how much pressure that the emergency departments are under. You may have witnessed numerous patients being nursed on our corridors, which to us has felt unsafe, undignified and really unacceptable. However, this has become the normal practice to us, and it's not something that any of us are actually proud of or any way that we want to work at. So setting the actual targets for this RPIW once we had the baseline was a challenge in itself, considering the pressures that we were under. The priority at all times was to ensure the patient's journey was safe and that the care was delivered and that it was high quality care. What I soon learnt very early on in the week was that this is an absolute amazing team who are actually taking this process to a completely new level that I hadn't envisaged at all. I watched them enthusiastically growing in confidence, knowing that they were producing something special for our departments in emergency services. What they did was completely exceeded my expectations. They've opened the doors for new ways of working in our emergency departments, which is focused on the patient's arrival, initial assessment, early commencement of diagnostics and early intervention from our clinicians. This ensures that we have the ability to keep our patients safe, we can treat them early, diagnose and move them into the right place for admission, transfer or discharge. And this is a huge achievement for our EDs. What really I want to finish on is to thank all the KPO team for all their encouragement and support, but particularly to thank all of you guys who've been absolutely amazing. I salute each and every one of you for not only you challenged not only my targets and you smashed them. It's been wonderful to watch you flourish throughout the week, and I'm really excited to look how this progresses over the next 30, 60, 90 days, and look forward really to both the EDs utilising these new processes that have been put in place to deliver safe, excellent care to our patients that arrive. Thank you.
Well, I can't follow that, can I? But thank you, Vanessa, for that. I'm Sarah Biffin, for those who don't know me, and I'm the executive sponsor for this value stream. This week has been amazing. I mean, I thought the first RPIW was good, but the second one has been even better. So I just thank you all, and just keep going, and the enthusiasm, and thank you particularly to Paul for coming and for believing in the process and for believing in the work, because I know you wanted to do it differently, so thank you. And to Chris for your time this week, which has been great. So just keep it up, and I'll be interested each week to come in and have a look at your production boards and your process book so that we can see it. So well done everyone. Thanks.
Got the TPR to show. Have you got it, Kathy? Yeah. There we go.
Okay. Hi, my name's Hannah, and I'm a staff nurse on AMU, and I was also the process owner of the Sepsis RPIW number 5. I'm here to give a 90-day report out of everything that we've done over 90 days. So this RPIW focused on the learning that we have done in previous RPIWs and then share this trust-wide. So after 90 days it was apparent that we made a massive improvement, as you can see down on the right-hand side, on AMU, and together we have implemented all of this on our ward. So we introduced our very own sepsis trolley, which was developed on a previous RPIW. Using the trolley has allowed us to complete our sepsis bundle much quicker, and an average time of 69 minutes to 50 minutes with an improvement of 28%, meaning that we're now in the recommended hour from the Sepsis Trust. We also saw the setup reduction from 15 minutes of collecting all the equipment to just 40 seconds by introducing a sepsis trolley and grab bags for blood cultures, which was also developed on a previous RPIW. This was an improvement of 96%. Documentation was also an issue alongside in AMU, and we developed this along with our trolley. So we had the documentation on the trolley, and it was essential that we monitored the bundle from start to finish. As we didn't have sepsis documentation beforehand, we've gone from a 100% defect to an amazing 16%, so we're quite proud of that. And then the RPIW identified also an additional defect, which was our pod system breaking down due to user error or no pods available on the AMU. So to address this, we created a user guide, meaning that breakdown was reduced, and we also brought into circulation 2 emergency pods to AMU. By introducing these 2 things, we've gone from a 60% defect to a 0%. So we had no issues for all the 90 days on sending our samples to the lab. We also aim to develop sepsis champions on each of the wards in order to share this learning. This is something that we've not managed to fully address just yet, but we're making it our priority, and it's ongoing at the moment. Our aim is to have regular meetings and share knowledge and ideas on each and every ward, and make our sepsis how-to guide accessible for all these champions, which we developed on this RPIW. Overall, we've made a massive improvement on how we identify sepsis and treat our septic patients on AMU. So well done to our colleagues, and they've taken the learning in their stride and have been very supportive to allow me to do this. Thank you.
So well done the team on PRH-AMU, first for making the improvements. Victoria's taking a photo. I can see a tweet coming. And then for maintaining them. This is particularly important because what the nature of this particular RPIW was about was sharing the learning. And while we've seen AMU make the changes and they've learned how to adapt and adopt things that have been learned and implemented on other wards, what we're now looking to do is spread that learning. And what Hannah referred to in terms of having the sepsis champions is really going to be crucial. We know we've got pockets of SaTH, individual wards where we do really well in terms of our looking after patients with sepsis. The problem is it's not everywhere. So looking forward to the work of the team, taking what's been learned and spreading that learning, because what this RPIW really was about is how can we learn and how can we spread that learning and share it with colleagues who have not yet experienced the RPIW. Thank you and well done.
To Neil to share his reflections, and then we have some certificates.
Main business.
Get serious now.
Okay.
Yeah, so no surprises that in all the work that's being done, that we have such a massive level of commitment. It's only what I've come to expect, really, in the time that I've been working in the Trust. And so that people are getting behind the exercises and actually looking to try and find major improvements. Like I say, not a surprise, but actually still great work. I'm just reflecting, though, on a comment that Vanessa made about in the first RPIW that we talked about, which was concerns around unsafe, undignified, unacceptable. I'd also put into there, as from a patient perspective, just how frightening and scary it is to come into an ED department, and actually what you need is the level of confidence around you, and also that feeling that people understand the anxiety that you have. And a number of you will know that I wouldn't have wanted it, but I was a mystery shopper, so actually experiencing that. So it's great that we've seen the results that we have. You know, the fact that people I'll just pick one of them, on undignified, that being seen in a corridor, and 100% being seen in a corridor, now 0%. You know, that is magnificent, isn't it? That is what we are here to do, isn't it? And I mean, I could go on wax lyrical around all the other things that you're doing, but tremendous performance, those kind of things are the reason that we are doing this exercise. We're not doing it for any other reason, are we? We are doing it to drive our standards up. I was reflecting also on the fact that, you know, that we also have extended the breadth of the engagement outside of the teams, so that we've started to include the Ambulance Trust. Because it's evident, isn't it, that where we started from in terms of the exercise, it's evident now that as we make improvements, that we have to think beyond the immediacy of it in order to be able to secure the kind of gains that we need. But hey ho, we're making fantastic progress. In terms of sepsis, so we all know, don't we, the absolutely critical importance associated with getting that intervention undertaken and completed on time. The fact that we have made improvements, got the number down from 69 minutes to 50 minutes, so therefore we're hitting that target. Again, what's it about? It's about ensuring that our patients actually, as it turns out, have a real chance of survival, don't we? Clearly, we need to roll that out and get it in place elsewhere. There's lots of reasons why it isn't the case, and we need to address what they are. But work of this type is showing that it can be done, and that it can be done consistently. So again, fantastic work in AMU. So those are the comments that I wanted to make, really. No surprises that our staff are really behind all of this, and more evidence, if you like, of the kind of changes that we're making to seriously improve the quality of care that we're doing. Thank you very much.
Got some certificates for you to give out.
All right, I've got some certificates to hand out.
Do you want to come up in your right order? So.
Excuse me.
Neil, thank you all for coming.